Disney hid the entire plot of Zootopia 3 in a sticky note password, and we're about to break down every insane theory you haven't heard yet. Spoilers ahead, let's go. Theory number 1, the birds have been watching the whole time. Let's start with the one that's been keeping the internet up at night. In the post-credits scene, we see Judy in her apartment. She puts the carrot pen on her windowsill, gets interrupted by her annoying neighbors, classic Zootopia humor. And as she walks away, a feather floats down and lands next to the pen. Now, on its own, could be nothing. Could be a cute tease. But then we found the password. When Clawhauser logs into Paul the Mole's computer, there's a sticky note with his password. P at RT3, IZFR, and BRDZR2. The internet decoded this immediately. It reads, Part 3 is for real, and birds are too. So here's what we need to consider. If birds exist in this universe, and they clearly do based on this evidence, where have they been? We've had 2 movies now, mammals in the first one, reptiles got introduced and then revealed to have been driven out 100 years ago. But birds? 0 mention, 0 sightings, 0 acknowledgement. And that's weird, right? Because birds are everywhere in our world. You can't walk outside without seeing one. So either birds don't exist in Zootopia, or they've been deliberately staying hidden. Here's the theory. The birds have been watching this entire time. Think about it. They have the ultimate vantage point. They can see everything from above. They could monitor the mammals, the reptiles, the entire city, without anyone ever knowing. And now with Judy having solved 2 major conspiracies that shook Zootopia to its core, maybe they've decided she's worth watching more closely. That feather wasn't random. Someone or something is scoping her out. Are they allies? Are they threats? Are they planning their own return to Zootopia like the reptiles did? We won't know until Zootopia 3, but Disney basically confirmed with that password that birds are coming, and we need to be ready for whatever that means. Theory number 2, the wild hop situation is Disney's biggest coward move. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. Or should we say, the fox and the bunny? Nick and Judy's relationship has been driving fans insane since 2016, and Zootopia 2 gave us, well, let's call it strategic ambiguity. Here's what actually happens in the movie. They argue. They go to therapy with Dr. Fuzby. They have this incredibly charged moment where Nick says, "No one else in the world matters more to me than you do." They embrace desperately after almost losing each other. And at the end, Nick fixes Judy's carrot pen and records a message. Love you, partner. Is that romantic love? Is that platonic love? Disney is intentionally not telling us. And here's where it gets interesting. Director Byron Howard was asked about this back in 2016, and he said, quote, "Can't they just stay best friends?" While also admitting that fans are split down the middle on what should happen. The novelization of Zootopia 2 goes even further. There's a scene where Nick says, "Okay, I don't care that we're different. I care about you." And I didn't say it, but I should have said it. That's a confession. That's textbook romantic confession dialogue. So why won't Disney just commit? Here's the theory. Disney is terrified of the implications of an interspecies relationship in a movie that's already a metaphor for real-world discrimination. Think about it. Zootopia was praised for its commentary on prejudice. But if you make Nick and Judy a couple, suddenly you're equating interspecies relationships with interracial relationships. And that opens up a whole can of worms that Disney clearly doesn't want to deal with. Some critics have already pointed out that Disney has a pattern of dehumanizing non-traditional relationships by putting them in non-human characters, like in Strange World or Elemental. So what we're left with is this frustrating middle ground where the movie clearly wants us to see the romantic tension, but won't actually pull the trigger. They're having their cake and eating it too, getting the shipping engagement without the commitment. And honestly, that's kind of cowardly. Either commit to the romance or commit to the friendship. But this wishy-washy, it's whatever you want it to be approach feels like Disney trying to please everyone and satisfying no one. Theory number 3, Paubert is a commentary on real-world fail sons. Let's talk about Paubert Linksley, because this villain is actually kind of genius when you think about what he represents. On the surface, Paubert is the awkward youngest child of the wealthy Linksley family. He's treated like garbage by his dad Milton and his siblings Catrick and Kitty. He's relegated to working in the mailroom. He's desperate for approval. Sound familiar? Because Paubert is basically every failed son of a powerful family who will do anything to be accepted, even if it means becoming a monster. Here's what makes him different from Bellwether, the villain of the first movie. Bellwether was cold, calculating, and ideological. She had a plan to turn predators against prey because she believed in prey superiority. Paubert, he doesn't believe in anything except being loved by his family. He's not trying to change the system. He's trying to get a seat at the table of a corrupt system. And that's terrifying when you think about the real-world parallels. How many times have we seen children of powerful families enable corruption, cover up crimes, and destroy lives? Not because they're evil masterminds, but because they just want daddy's approval? Paubert literally poisons Judy with snake venom, abandons Gary to freeze to death, and tries to destroy evidence that would expose his family's 100-year-old conspiracy. Also, his dad might finally say, "Good job." The movie even has Judy try to tell him he doesn't have to be like his family, that he can choose differently. And his response? "I'll destroy the patent, that town, and everything in it. And a dirtbag fox and a dumb bunny will never stand in my way." That's not a villain who was tricked or manipulated. That's someone who chose corruption because belonging to power matters more than doing what's right. It's a pretty dark message for a kid's movie, and we're honestly here for it. Theory number 4, the Linksley conspiracy mirrors real colonialism. Speaking of dark, let's talk about what the Linksley family actually did, because it's basically textbook colonialism. Here's the history. Ebenezer Linksley is celebrated as the founder of Zootopia and the inventor of the weather walls that allow different species to live together. He's got statues, he's got a gala named after him. He's basically Zootopia's founding father. Except, he didn't do any of that. The movie reveals that Gary's great-grandmother, Agnes de Snake, was the actual inventor. She came up with the weather wall technology. She wanted Zootopia to be a place where all animals could coexist. Mammals, reptiles, everyone. And what did Ebenezer do? He stole her invention, took all the credit, killed his tortoise maid, framed Agnes for the murder, and used the weather walls to expand Tundra Town, deliberately burying the reptile district under snow and forcing an entire population to flee. That's literally what colonizers did throughout history. Steal indigenous technology and knowledge, take credit, erase the original creators from history, and physically displace their communities. The Linksley family then spent 100 years maintaining this lie. They became the wealthy elite of Zootopia based on stolen innovation and genocide-adjacent policies. And here's the kicker. The current government knows about this. Mayor Windancer initially complies with Milton Linksley's demands to arrest Judy and Nick. The system is built to protect the Linksleys. Sound familiar? Because this is basically how generational wealth and power work in the real world. Families that got rich through exploitation don't just disappear. They become founding fathers whose crimes get whitewashed by history. Zootopia 2 is literally about rewriting that history and holding powerful families accountable. That's a pretty radical message when you think about it. Theory number 5, the Shining and Silence of the Lambs references weren't just Easter eggs. Okay, this one's for the film nerds. The directors confirmed in interviews that Zootopia 2 deliberately references The Shining and the Silence of the Lambs. But here's the thing, these aren't just fun Easter eggs. They actually tie into the movie's themes. The Shining reference comes during the maze chase near the end. Paubert is chasing Judy through a snow-covered hedge maze, limping and unhinged in direct homage to Jack Nicholson's character. One animator, Louis Malaeus, apparently showed up to work wearing a Shining t-shirt and begged to animate that sequence. And he delivered. Paubert's descent into madness mirrors Jack Torrance's corruption perfectly. But here's what's interesting. In The Shining, Jack is corrupted by the hotel, by external supernatural forces. In Zootopia 2, Paubert is corrupted by something way more real, family pressure and the desire to belong to a corrupt system. It's like the movie is saying, you don't need ghosts to turn someone into a monster. Family dysfunction will do just fine. The Silence of the Lambs connections are subtler but equally intentional. Gary the snake being interrogated, the hero having to work with a potentially dangerous other to solve a conspiracy. The focus on manipulation and psychological games, it's all there. And both films share a theme that Zootopia 2 leans into. The real monsters aren't the obvious threats. The snake isn't the villain. The awkward kid isn't harmless. The respected founding family is actually built on murder and theft. These references aren't just fan service. They're part of how the movie wants us to think about who the real predators are. Theory number 6. The jailbreak sets up a Disney Plus series. Here's something people aren't talking about enough. During the climax, when Nick and Nibbles break out of police custody, they accidentally open every cell in the building. Hundreds of criminals escape. The movie literally has Judy say at the end that she and Nick will have plenty of work catching all those convicts. Now, Disney could just ignore this in Zootopia 3, but think about how Disney operates now. Everything is content. Everything is franchise building. A Zootopia series on Disney Plus where Nick and Judy hunt down escaped criminals, episode by episode, that's basically guaranteed money. We already got Zootopia Plus, the Disney Plus short series. The infrastructure is there, the audience is there, and now the movie literally gave them a premise for an ongoing procedural show. This might not have been an accident. This might be Disney setting up their next streaming hit, while also giving themselves an easy way to keep the Zootopia franchise alive between theatrical releases. Because let's be real, if Zootopia 3 doesn't come out until 2029 or later, Disney isn't going to let this billion-dollar IP sit dormant. Expect announcements soon. Theory number 7, the real reason Nick hates reptiles. Quick one, but it's been bugging us. Nick has a really strong reaction to Gary throughout the movie, like way stronger than makes sense for someone who's supposedly reformed and open-minded. There's a moment where someone jokes about Nick being conservative cousin at Thanksgiving because of his reptile hangups. But why? Nick grew up as an outcast fox in a prejudiced society. He should theoretically be the most sympathetic to another marginalized group, unless there's backstory we're not seeing. Here's the theory. Nick had a bad experience with reptiles during his con artist days. Maybe he got scammed. Maybe he got hurt. Maybe someone he cared about was affected by whatever drove the reptiles out of Zootopia. The movie doesn't explain it, which feels intentional. This could be set up for Zootopia 3, where Nick has to confront his own prejudices in a more direct way, especially now that reptiles are officially welcomed back to the city. Theory number 8, the abortion comic reference was intentional. Okay, we need to talk about this because Disney absolutely knows what they're doing. If you've been in the Zootopia fandom for any amount of time, you've probably heard of the infamous Zootopia abortion comic. It's a fan-made comic where Nick and Judy have a relationship. Judy gets pregnant, and it gets complicated. It's so notorious it literally has its own Wikipedia page. In the very first scene of Zootopia 2, Nick and Judy go undercover as a couple, with a baby. The baby is Finnick in disguise, but still, they're literally pretending to be parents together. A character even comments that an interspecies couple is a bit different, but not unheard of in Zootopia. There's no way that's coincidental. The filmmakers have admitted in interviews that they're aware of the fan community and what they've created. This feels like Disney directly acknowledging the elephant, or should we say, the Fox Bunny hybrid in the room. It's like the movie is saying, yeah, we know what you've been drawing. Here's your little moment. Now let's move on. Whether that's Disney being playful with their fandom or low-key trolling them, we'll let you decide. Theory number 9, Zootopia is building toward a civil war. Let's zoom out and think about where this franchise is going. Movie 1, mammals learning to coexist despite predator-prey prejudice. The threat is internal, someone manipulating existing divisions. Movie 2, reptiles revealed to have been exiled. The threat is systemic, generational corruption and historical erasure. Movie 3, birds entering the picture. The threat is external? Here's the theory. Each movie is expanding the scope of Zootopia's world and its conflicts. And if birds have been deliberately staying separate from Zootopia, living in their own civilization, watching from above, Their arrival could represent something bigger than another group seeking acceptance. What if birds don't want to integrate? What if they see what happened to the reptiles and decide that Zootopia's system is too broken to join? What if they're coming not to coexist, but to challenge mammal dominance entirely? The franchise has been building toward bigger and bigger questions about who gets to belong, who writes history, and who holds power. A third movie about birds could push that into full-scale ideological conflict, especially because, think about this, birds in the real world are dinosaurs. They're the descendants of the creatures who ruled the earth before mammals. There's millennia of evolutionary history to tap into for thematic storytelling. What if Zootopia 3 is about whether this city built on lies can survive when a civilization that's been watching its failures decides they've had enough? That would be dark, and we're here for it. Theory number 10, the tangled frying pan means more than you think. Last one, and it's a quick but important connection. When Nick hits Gary with a frying pan early in the movie, the directors confirmed it's the exact same frying pan from Tangled. Same design, same sound effect, everything. Fun Easter egg, right? But here's what's interesting. In Tangled, Rapunzel uses that frying pan to escape from her tower and the person keeping her trapped. It represents her breaking free from a system of control that had defined her entire life. In Zootopia 2, Nick uses that same weapon against someone he sees as a threat, but Gary turns out to be innocent. Nick's immediate assumption that the snake is dangerous is wrong. The frying pan in Tangled is liberation. The frying pan in Zootopia 2 is prejudice. It's the same object being used for opposite purposes, and that feels intentional. Disney is basically saying, the tools we use can free us or they can hurt innocent people. It depends on whether we're acting from understanding or from fear. That's a pretty sophisticated visual metaphor for a joke about bonking a snake on the head. All right, those are the 10 theories we've been obsessing over since Zootopia 2 dropped. We've got birds secretly watching the city from hidden civilizations, Disney being too scared to commit to their own romantic subplot, a villain who represents everything wrong with generational wealth and fail-son culture, colonial themes hidden in a kid's movie, horror movie references that actually tie into the themes, potential Disney Plus series setups, unexplained character motivations, the infamous abortion comic getting acknowledged, a potential civil war brewing in the franchise, and Easter eggs with deeper meaning than anyone's talking about. This movie is so much deeper than people are giving it credit for. And honestly, we're probably just scratching the surface. Drop a comment below with your theory. What did we miss? What connections have you noticed? Did we convince you on any of these? And if you want us to do a full deep dive into any of these theories specifically, especially the bird situation or where the Nick-Judy relationship is actually going, let us know. Also, huge shout out to everyone who's been engaging with our content lately. We see you. We appreciate you. This community is what makes these videos worth making. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the bell so you don't miss when we drop more theory content, and we'll see you in the next one.